Okay, welcome back. This is my second lesson on the mole. You may remember my first lesson I introduced the mole concept. We talked about Avogadro's number. We talked about how big that number is, and we related that to a few elements on the table, and we talked about water. What I want to do today is talk about how we relate moles and grams back to moles, and also relating moles to particles, and that uses Avogadro's number. So we can't go out these days, but I'm going to make you imagine that you're on a deserted island, a group of islands, and we're all moles. And these are good islands, these are not bad places. So we're going to use about half a page of paper if you've got it, and we're going to draw a picture. And this is a bit non-conventional, but I think it does work because it is a visual. And we're going to visit Moleland, so here we go. Moleland is going to be in the very middle, and it is a beautiful place where there are palm trees. There's one there. I'm not the greatest artist, so bear with me. And of course, we've got little moles. So there's a mole, there's another one, and these moles, they love Moleland. Again, it's a little paradise. There's lots of water around. This is Moleland here, so we'll label this. Now, these moles are pretty busy, but they do like to move from island to island. But as you probably know, moles hate water. So they're very industrious, and they were able not only to go from island to island, but to build some bridges between the islands. So down here to the left, we're going to have a second island, and here it is. And we're going to call this Moleland. And this is where the moles go to work out. Right? It's not a bad place. There's some nice palm trees. When they get tired of the sun, the moles can sort of hang under the palm trees, or they could lift some weights if they want. So that is Moleland. And like I said, there's a bridge that goes between those two islands. And moles are pretty visually impaired, I hear, so there's little railings to stop them from falling. And the moles can go back and forth on this bridge. So it's easy to go from Moleland to Moleland, or from Moleland to Moleland. The third island that we're going to talk about is over here. And this is on the right side, and this is called Particle Land. So we're going to call it Particle Land. And again, like the other two islands, quite a nice place. Little palm tree here. Oh, what the heck, let's put 2 on. Let's live large, shall we? And so here we go. And again, there are moles here, sort of hanging around, enjoying the weather. And again, they can't swim, so these are very industrious moles. They have built bridges in between. So moles can go both ways. They can go from Moleland down to Particle Land, or from Particle Land back to Moleland. Now it is interesting when you look at this little paradise that we've described here, there's no bridge between Particle Land here and Moleland over here. There's a simple reason for that, and that's because there are little things, or should I say big things, in the ocean that love to eat moles. And these, my friends, are called mole sharks. So when a mole goes into the ocean, the mole shark tends to gobble it up. So the moles know they can't go from Moleland to Particle Land, interestingly. Now, what has this got to do with chemistry? Well, it has a ton to do with chemistry. These are very smart moles like you and I. And in order to go from one island to the next, they have to pass a little test, like a little skill testing question, if you will. So let's start over here at Moleland. If a mole wants to go from Moleland to Moleland, they have to figure out a certain mathematical formula. And it turns out that grams is equal to moles times molar mass. So when they go from Moleland to Moleland, they have to multiply moles by molar mass. Okay? And we talked about molar mass at the end of the first video. If you didn't see that video, you may want to revisit that. And we're going to talk about this. So grams equals moles times molar mass. Now, if they want to go back from Moleland to Moleland, then they have to do a little bit of a different calculation. Moles equals grams divided by molar mass. So in one case, they have to multiply. In the other case, they have to divide. So that gets them between Moleland and Moleland. If they want to go from Moleland and particle land, then the moles have to multiply that great big number that we learned in the first video, good old Avogadro's number. So if they want to go from Moleland to particle land, they have to multiply the number of moles by Avogadro's number to get the number of particles. And of course, you might be thinking that if they go the opposite way from particle land to Moleland, then they must divide by Avogadro's number. So there you have it. Moleland. We've got Moleland in the middle. We've got Moleland and particle land. Moles can easily go from grams, right here, to moles, right here. And they can easily go from moles to particles here. Now, particles could be a number of things. They could be atoms, or they could be molecules. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next video. And I think that's about all we need to do at this point. There's Moleland, our little paradise. Even though we can't get out these days, you can imagine being a mole on this group of islands is not a bad thing. And we'll revisit the next lesson. We'll use this little paradise to figure out how to calculate grams for moles, moles from grams, and we'll look at particles, molecules, and going back and forth between moles and particles. I hope this worked well for you and you enjoyed it. We'll carry on with our next lesson in the near future.